Hi guys, welcome to Charities Bubble USA, your number one channel. I'm here and I'm gonna just do an overview, a simple overview of the DS260, the things that you need to know when you're filling it out. So I'm just gonna do the sample so that you can have an overview of what to do. My name is Charity Nganga. This is Charities Bubble USA. For those who are new here, I normally talk about the DV lottery because that's how I came here in the US. I've been living here in the US for a couple of years now, and I've gone through the process. So what I do, I just try to explain and make it easier for anybody out there who won their DV lottery and they are clueless. Like I was clueless. We were very clueless when we got our DV lottery. And after staying here for a long time, I was like, if I start a YouTube channel, it's going to help someone who is feeling that challenge instead of going to pay someone to do it for you, because you should not be paying anybody to do the process for you. Actually, this is a very confidential process that you're supposed to do for yourself. So if you have an example or you know where to go, then it's going to be very, very easy for you. So I'm going to do the sample DS260 because, like I said, when you have won your DV lottery, you have your case number. That's very confidential information that you should not be sharing with anybody. So you should learn how to do it for yourself. Now, unless you do not understand English, is when you can get a preparer. It is not a bad to get someone to do it for you. It's not a crime. But for me, I try to show you guys that you can do it for yourself, because when you're doing that process, even when you come here in the US, you have to learn how to be independent. You have to learn how to be able to do things for yourself. Because if you're not able to do things for yourself and wait that someone is going to come from out there and help you out, then you will be in trouble. Because let me just tell you what happens here. You know, in Africa, we are used to, when you get lost, you go and ask someone for the way, and they tell you. Now here, when you go and ask someone about something, they will tell you that they do not know, even if you are asking about the next door, because that is not the system here. The system here is you do it for yourself. So you have to learn how to do it for yourself with no help, because this is stuff that is self-explanatory when you watch the videos. So keep tuned, watch this video from the beginning to the end, and I believe that you will get something from it. So the first thing that you need to know is the website where you are going to do the online application. So I am going to share a screen here and show you where to go when you need to do your application. So you will click here. Let me share this with you, and I want to see if it's there. Now, so this is where you go. This is where you go to your online application on this website, travel.state.gov. And what you do, you come all the way down here, and then you click on here. But right now, when I click on it, today is Monday, their website is saying that they're doing maintenance. On Wednesday, May 13, 2022, 9 a.m. until Monday, May 16, 2022, there is a scheduled maintenance. So when you click on this website, because you know the website now, is you will see this right now, because I received messages. People are like, why is it not working? Because they're doing maintenance up to 5 p.m. That's a few hours from now. It's gonna be midnight. It's gonna be very late at night in Africa. So if you're doing it right now, it's not working. But this is the right website that you go to. So I am not going to dwell on that so much. But you know that you have to go to travel.state.gov. And of course, if you are selected, if you are selected, those instructions are there. Click on that link that is telling you to click on so that you can go. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and do a sample DS260 as just a sample, so that I can show you the main things that you need to do when you're filling out your DS260, because you just need to know how to navigate and how to do it. Now, the first thing that you need to know when you're filling out your DS260 is that you can do it for yourself. You do not need anybody to do it for you. You are able to do it for yourself. So this is the application sample, and we are going to go through the main things that you need to do when you are doing your DS260. So I hope that I am on the right one or here. Okay, now this is a sample. And like I said, that is your information, your case number is very, very important. Don't go sharing it with people out there. So what you need, the first thing that you need is good internet. You need time. You're not gonna fill it with 1 minute. You need time. You need a lot of information for your DS 260. Now, you also need information about your passport. Is very, very important. So when you go to that website, it's going to ask for your case number. You'll put in your case number, and then you're going to continue. After you continue, it's going to give you an invoice ID number, because that one was sent to you in your information. And then you're going to select here, are you the main applicant, or is it someone who is doing it for you? And if I go down here, it's going to show you here, are you the applicant? Are you the attorney? Are you the petitioner? Are you a third party agent? If someone is filling it out for you, you have to select the person who is doing it for you. So if another person is doing it for you, you cannot say that you are the applicant. That person is going to say that is the third party agent, and then it will prompt you to enter the characters here, characters that look like this. And then after you enter your characters, then you're gonna go on down there, and it's good to read information that is there. Very, very, very good information. And then you are gonna come all the way down. It's good to just go through the information and know what they are talking about until you come to this page that says personal information, number 1. So you will enter your surname here and your given name. So for example, if it's me, I would enter Anganga Charity Nyokabi. Okay, so that is how you do it. Remember, your surname is your last name or your family name. And of course, when you look at this side, it tells you, it gives you some help. So if you click on here, you will get help on how to do it. That's why I'm saying you can do it for yourself. This column here is for, if you click on it when you're doing it and you click on help, it's going to tell you what you are struggling with. Then you are going to say your current marital status. Are you no, it's going to ask you for your sex, that is your sex at birth. Are you a male or a female? And then your current marital status. Are you married or are you not married? Now this one has to go with what you filled out when you are doing your first application. So there is no, you will say that you are married if you say that you are single. You cannot change this. It has to flow. Now the date of birth here. Now here in the US, we start with the month and then the day, and then we go to the year. So you will provide your information there, and then your date of birth. So if the day or month is unknown, enter as shown in the passport or travel document. They're telling you to do that. Then where were you born, the state where you were born. If it doesn't have a state, because most, let's assume if you are from Kenya or from Uganda, they do not have states. They have something like provinces. So here there is this little thing that tells you you can do not apply. Does not apply, so you can click on that. And then of course the country of birth, and remember the country of birth has to be eligible. It has to be eligible. When we did the DS2 when we did the rules, when we were doing the first application, remember Nigeria was not there. So make sure that the country of birth that you put there is the correct one, and then you are going to click next. When you go to next, it's gonna bring so let's go to here. Personal information number 2. Where were you born? Country or region of origin. So if you're from Uganda, you will select there that you're Uganda. And then the passport. This is your passport information, whereby what do you have? Do you have a passport? You click on there, and then the ID of your passport and who gave you the passport, you're going to enter here. And then when was it issued, the date and the expiration date. Remember that your document must be valid. It must not be expired. If you need help, click on here and you're going to read the information here that's going to tell you about help. And then we are going to go to next is the address and the phone. So this is a sample and it has many pages. So I'm just going to click on through it until it whatever. Now, maybe you don't have your passport right now, but you wanna fill out your DS260. You can fill out other travel document here and you leave it, whereby you can unlock it later and add your passport information. But for me, what I say is that you wanna do this, make sure that you have your passport, have everything there, because they're not going to start processing your DS260 or your visa at this time. It's going to be up to October. So fill out, apply for your passport and have it when you're doing it. That's why I'm saying be ready, have everything, so that you don't have to go back to unlock your document and put on your passport information. Put your information there for your passport. Then other country, region, or origin of nationality. That is, do you hold or have or held any nationality other than the ones that you have indicated above? That is, if you were born in a certain country, maybe you were born in Uganda and then you went to Kenya, you became a citizen of Kenya, then you have to provide that information if you have. If you do not have that, just leave it, say no. Okay. Do you hold a passport from any country or region of origin or nationality? If you don't have any, you say no and you're good to go. Then you save. It's good to save when you're entering your information. Make sure that you're saving all the time, so that even if you leave your document and you want to come back, your information will be saved. But if you go on next without saving, you find that it's very easy to lose your information, and you'll be able to, and you'll be prompted to go back again and re-enter the information, and you don't want to do that. Now, the other thing, if you have that other country that you have a nationality and you have a passport, you have to be able to enter your passport number here. And here, guys, you have to be very, very honest about this DS260. You have to fill it out to the truth, you know. And then let's look at the address and the phone. Okay, now it is going to ask for the present and previous address information. So what is your present address? You're going to talk about where you are right now. This is your present address. You can use the address that you put in when you did your first application. That's good to go. You put it there. The country here, it says Argentina. So whatever country that you are, you're going to put it there. And then when did you start living there? It's going to ask you that. You enter the time that you started living there. And then it's going to ask you, have you lived anywhere other than this address since the age of 16? Have you lived anywhere else? That is where the information comes in. Maybe you went to live somewhere in another country or whatever, or you are living, maybe that's an address for Nairobi and you are living. I remember us, when we were filling out, we had to fill out the address that we are living in Nairobi, and at the same time we filled out the address of our previous places where we were living before we came to Nairobi, which is okay. Then it's going to ask for your phone number. You will enter your phone number. If you have another phone number, you can put it there. If you don't have it, you can click here, does not apply. And if you have a work number that you want to provide, you can provide. If you do not have any, you can say does not apply. Now, if you still need help, come to this column. And let me sample one of the questions that talks that one of the things that here, if you want to look for help, let's look. You must provide a primary phone number. The primary phone number should be the phone number at which you are most likely to be reached. This could be a landline or a cellular mobile number. If you have an additional landline or a cellular mobile number, please list that as your secondary phone number. So you must provide at least one phone number. Now, have you used any other telephone number during the last 5 years? If you have, you say yes. If you have not, you say no. Then the email address. Now, you must provide an email address. The email address you provide will be used for correspondent purposes. Provide an email address that is secure, to which you have reasonable access. Very, very important. Very, very important for you to put in your email address. So use the email address that you used for your application. That will be good to go. Now, if you have any other email addresses, you can enter them here. Have you used any other email addresses? Put them there. Now, let's go to social media. I remember I did a video about social media. So they ask you here about social media. So here you will say the social media, if it's Facebook, if it's Instagram. And here, let's assume you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have Twitter, you have, or whatever you have, TikTok, Tinder, whatever, I don't know. There's so many, there's so many, oh my gosh. So here, you're going to put the media platform. And if you have more, it's going to tell you to add another, add another, add another. Now, let's assume that you don't call your social media by your name. You call your name. You know, I've seen this thing about, especially I've seen this one very common in WhatsApp, whereby someone does not want to reveal their identity, so they are calling themselves like a very weird names, you know, like maybe Hunted or whatever, and that is not their name. You find that when you are doing your social media, and I am gonna read here about social media, enter information associated with your online presence, including the types of online provider platforms and application and websites that you use to collaborate, share information, and interact with others. List the username, the handle, screen name, or other identifiers associated with their social media profile. You do not need to list accounts designed for use for multiple users within a business or other organization. But what you use, what you have in social media, you have to, now let's assume if it was me and I was supposed to provide information, of course I would provide my Facebook, maybe Charity Nganga, and then I will still provide Charity's Babu fan page because it's still my social media. If I call the same myself, the same on Instagram, I would be able to provide all that information. Guys, you have to be truthful, okay? So other social media, do you wish to provide information about your presence or any other websites or applications you have used within the last 5 years, or create or share content, photos, video, status, updates, etc. So here you can decide yes or no, then you do that. Now, let's look at the next. You save and then you go to next. Next is going to be your mailing, permanent address. And if you want to go back, you can still go back. See here, you can go back. So we'll come here and look at the addresses. So the present address, we had talked about that. And then we'll go to your mailing. We talked about that. So I'm going to scroll up until I go to the mailing address. Now, let's look at this mailing address. This is where the host comes in, because this one is your mailing address the same as your present address. Now, this one would be different, because if you give an email a mailing address for the country that you are on right now, and you have to give an email address here in the US. But if you are processing yours in the US, it's going to be a little bit different. Now here, it tells you the permanent address. Please provide the following information on where you intend to live after arrival in the United States. So, who lives there? You state there. The United States address. So this one, you have to have contact with your host. They have given you their address, and that is what you're going to put here. You're going to enter there. Now, when they give you the address, all this information is going to be there. The person, maybe like, for example, it's me, my address, I will tell you there, the city that I live in, and the state that I live in, and the zip code. We have all this stuff, and we have the phone number. The phone number, it looks like it's optional. You can click there. Does not apply if you did not get the phone number for your host. You can do that. Now, is this where you want your permanent resident card or green card to be mailed? Now, if you want your green card to be mailed there to your host, I would suggest that you say yes, because you don't know how long you're going to be at your host's place. So say yes, and then when you come to the US, if you move out, then you will go to the post office, and they will forward your address to the new address, which we normally do, and that is very common, and it's done here. Now, let's go to the next one. The next one is family. Next is family. So you come all the way here, and then, so this is just what we have gone through. So I'm going to skip on that, and then we are going to scroll and come here all the way. You know, this is a sample, and that's why it's repeating itself. It's a sample, and that is why you find that it's repeating itself. So the family information, the parents page, this is about your parents. So that when you want to invite your parents, they still go back to your records and see the names that you gave. So you write about your dad, your father. If you do not have a dad, you just say you do not know. And then they're given names if they have. If you do not know, you don't know. You know, their date of birth is very, very important. But if you do not know their date of birth, you know, some of us Africans, we don't know the date of birth of our parents. Which is, I don't know, for some reason, some of us do not know. Like me, I didn't know the date of birth for my dad. I knew the year of birth, but his date of birth exactly, I did not know. because you find that it's not like here in the US, like even someone who's 100-year-old knows their date of birth, because all that birthdays they're celebrated and all that. Like your birthday is like something like you'll have to be using all the time, because everywhere that you're going, the first thing they ask you is what's your date of birth. But you find that in Africa it's a little bit different. I remember myself when I was in Africa, I didn't even remember my date of birth. Like my birthday would just pass and then I'd be like, oh, my birthday was last week. But here you can't forget. So I hear your dad, where they were born, you write there the state. If it doesn't apply, all these sometimes do not apply. Just click do not know, do not know, do not know. If you don't have a dad, your mom was single, just write you do not know. And then your mom, the surnames at birth, the given names and the date of birth, you write all that information about your mom. And then it's gonna prompt you to go to next, and then we are going to go to the spouse page. Now on the spouse page, you're gonna come here. I told you that this document is repeating itself because it's a sample. So we are gonna go to the spouse page. Let's see what they want about the spouse, what they need. This is a spouse page. The spouse page is gonna be your current spouse here. Surname, given name, whatever, date of birth, place of birth. You write all that information about the person that you are married to legally right now. Now, and then, so you're going to write where they were born, all the information, their address, their occupation, what do they do for a living, when were you married, date and place of marriage. That's why I'm saying here you must have your marriage certificate, because you'll have to enter your date of marriage, your SIRI, and this one does not apply. If you're single, this one does not apply to you. And then, is your spouse immigrating to the US with you? Yes or no? You have to enter there. Is your spouse immigrating to the US at a later date to join you? I told you these options are here. So if you are wondering about finances, there is that option that you can leave them and then they can travel back later. So it's your spouse, so you write yes or no. If you do not intend to go at the same time, then you will be able to click there and tell them, because it can be due to finances. It's a lot of money, guys, and we have to acknowledge that it's a lot of money. So so we've talked about the current spouse there. So we are gonna go to the next person and see what it's talking about. That one is still, it keeps on repeating itself because it's a sample. Now, do you have any previous spouses? Yes or no? Now, for a previous spouse, of course, you know that you have to produce either a separation document or a divorce document. Now, if you are in a polygamous marriage, that one is not accepted here in the US. So you cannot list like 10 wives or 5 wives there and expect that you're gonna, no, they do not do that. So it's that person. If you are married and you are divorced, you have to enter that person. You have to enter, when you click on yes, it's gonna prompt you to give more information. So it's very, very good to be truthful. So the next, so you'll save your information and then we go to the children. So here we are going to talk about the children. So now let me go back here about the other spouse. If you had clicked yes on any previous spouses, it's going to ask the name. It's going to ask you the number of previous spouses. How many have you had? You will indicate there. If you have had whatever number, you will indicate there. And then it will ask you for their information, their date of birth, the date of marriage, and the date the marriage ended. So how was the marriage terminated? Other. So you're going to explain here on this drop down how the marriage was terminated. And if like it was not terminated through maybe a divorce, whatever, if it was terminated through the chief or whatever, then you will explain here. And then where was your marriage terminated? You will explain all that information there. So be truthful. It's very, very important for you to be truthful. And then from there, it is going to ask about children. Now, do you have any children? If you have kids, you will say yes. And remember the kids, you have to, remember we said in the first application, you have to include your own kids, your stepchildren, and your adopted children, and even the children of your spouse. If you have, your wife came with kids or your husband had kids and they are below 21 years and they are unmarried, remember you have to put them here. But if you did not indicate them in the first place, that's going to be trouble for you. Now, so you will indicate there. If you click on yes, it's going to open a drop down for you to add about your children. See, do you have any children? This one said yes. Number of children is going to tell you 4. If you have 4 children, it's going to give you 4 places to indicate about your children. Okay, so child number 1, their name, their surname, their given name, their date of birth, where were they born. If you don't, if in your country it doesn't apply the city or the state or the whatever, you just click here. You do not know, but you have to indicate the country. Here is going to give you all the countries that were eligible for the DV lottery. Does this child live with you? You'll say yes or no. Is this child immigrating to the US with you? Yes, say yes, because because that's your child. You have to go with them, you know. But maybe you are not going to go with them or whatever reason, but you have to say there. It depends on, you know, this is on an individual basis. So you will know what to answer, and that is why it is important for you to fill out the DS260 by yourself, because you know your information. You know your information better. And when you read this English, this is very simple English that you're able to do for yourself. So next, previous US travel. So you're going to come here. So we've talked about that. So have you ever been to the US? You will say no if you have never been here. If you have been here, you say yes. So you know your answer. Have you ever been issued a US visa? You know the answer. Have you ever been refused? Have you ever gone to the embassy and you are refused a visa? You will say yes or no. Because if you say no and you had gone and you had been refused, they have your records. So if you had been refused, it's okay. If you are given a visa and then you came all the way and you are refused admission, they refused to admit you in the US, you will say there and you will indicate. When you indicate, it's gonna give you a drop down to explain why. So have you been ever to the US? Here it says yes, whatever. Were you given an alien registration number by the Department of Security? If you've never come to the US, just indicate no, but you know your information more. You know your information more. So what you know, according to what the question is asking you, is what you should be able to answer. Okay? Now, if you have been invited here as a visitor, it is gonna ask you, provide information about your last US visit, your last 5 US visits or whatever. So when did you come in? How long did you stay? See, it's asking you how long did you stay. If you came came and went back, back and forth, it has a drop down here for you to add another if that information applies to you. But if you have never been in the US, you click on no, it is not going to bring any other drop down. So have you ever been issued a US visa? Yes or no? If you have been issued a US visa, you're going to indicate all that information over here, and you're going to indicate your visa number, because every visa has a number. Okay, but if you indicated no, it is not going to bring all this stuff. Have you ever been refused a US visa or being refused admission to the United States, or withdrawn your application for admission at the port of entry? Now, if you were not given, if you went all the way and they refused you to enter US, you will say yes. If no, indicate no and go on. You go on. Now the next one is going to be about your work, education, or training. Here we're going to talk about your work, primary occupation. What do you do? The work that you do, you will enter there. And then, in which occupation do you intend to work in the US? You might not know what you want to do in the US. So there's an option that will say other. There's an option there that's gonna say other. So you will click on there, and then maybe you can explain. So here, like here, they have given an example of agriculture, and then of course they will want where you are working, because they had asked about your occupation. They want to know about your present employer, who you work for, or if you're self-employed or whatever, or the school that you went. Now for the school, of course, this one you must state a school, because remember, the DV lottery, they want you to have a high school diploma as the minimum education. So you will enter the school that you went to, the address, and then the region where you went to school. Very, very, very important. And then if you have any other occupations, you have other jobs that you do, you will indicate whether yes or no. Okay? Which occupation do you intend to work in the US? If you want to pursue whatever that you're doing, agriculture, you can do that. If you do not have any, they have an option there for other, where you can click on there. So that is just a repetition of what I have talked about. And then we will, maybe you have a home. I remember mine, I wrote a homemaker because I think the first one I said the address, and then the other one I said, I remember saying a homemaker because I was like, what am I wasn't decided. So you can write a homemaker there. It's okay. You can write over there, especially if maybe you have a job and at the same time you are the one who manages your home and your kids and everything. Another occupation can be a homemaker. It's still a job, taking care of kids and the family is still a job. It's a full-time job, guys. Okay, now if here you said other, it is gonna tell you to specify what other that you wanna that like to explain more about that other. And then from there, we are going to go to the other slot. Is gonna be not employed. Maybe you are not employed. Explain why you are not employed. You have to give an explanation there. So it's giving you all the options. It's trying to explain to you all the options here so that you do not get lost. Now you're gonna scroll all the way down to go. And so which occupation do you intend to work in the US? You'll decide what you want to do over there. Now let's go to the next slot where it's going to ask you, now, were you previously employed? You will say yes or no. Have you attended any educational institution at a secondary level or above? Here you have to say yes. If you say no, you'll have to prove to give a 2 years minimum work experience at a job zone level that qualifies. So we say that the minimum is high school. So you click on there, yes, and then it's going to ask about your school and all that stuff. You will enter there. And then you will scroll down. It's giving me a lot of pages because it's trying to explain more so that you do not get all the scenarios. That's what it's trying to explain. So from there, we are gonna go to questions. Yeah, questions. Okay, here. Have you traveled to any countries, regions within the last 5 years? Yes or no? If you're going to Saudi Arabia, if you're going to the Middle East, you're gonna tell them. Please provide a list of countries or regions that you have visited. You will tell them there. And then, have you ever served in the military? You will say yes or no. If you are in the military in your country, you'll say yes. If you are not, don't say no. Okay, and we go. Have you belonged to or contributed to or worked for any professional, social, or charitable organization? Yes or no? Maybe no. Do you have any specialized skills training such as firearms, explosive, nuclear, or biological or chemical experience? You answer to your best. Have you ever been a member of or been involved with a paramilitary unit, vigilante unit, rebel group, guerrilla group, or insurgent organization? Now, here, if you say yes, of course, you're not going to be given a visa. But you know your answers. You can't lie. Because if you lie and they find out that you have been in one of these things, you're not going to be given a visa. Can you speak or read any languages other than your native language? Yes or no? If you know French, if you know German, if you know all that, it's good. It's an addition. You can write there yes or no, depending on you. For me, what I can do is just to guide, but I cannot be able to answer for you because you know yourself best. So it's the same thing there. And then we go all the way down to, it's gonna go all the way down to, we're almost done. We are almost done. It's gonna go to the petitioner information, the person who filled out the form on your behalf. Please provide the following information concerning the individual that filed the petition on your behalf. You select the person who did it for you. So is it your dad? Is it your mom? Is it a lawyer? Is it whatever? You write their names there. I remember us, we wrote the name for the lady who had filled out our green card because like this stuff was hard. We didn't know like where to go or what to do. But right now you have this information, and that's why I'm doing this video so that you can know what to do. Your employer can be your employer. It can be yourself. So if it's yourself, you'll just write self there. And if it's self, it's not going to prompt you to give more information because it's yourself who did it. Now, then you're going to come here. It's going to ask you about any diseases. Please note that you should Should you answer yes to any of the following questions, you may be requested to provide documentation to support your explanation. Keep on reading, you know, and that's why I'm saying you have to have enough time to do this thing. Don't miss out on reading this stuff. Read it so that you understand. Okay? Now, provide the following security and background information. Provide complete and accurate information to all questions that require an explanation. A visa may not be issued to persons who are within specific categories defined by law as inadmissible to the United States, except with a waiver, when a waiver is obtained in advance. Are any of the following applicable to you? A yes answer does not automatically signify ineligibility for a visa. Please note that you should answer yes to any of the following questions. You may be requested to provide documentation to support your explanation. Guys, honesty here. Do you have any communicable diseases of public health significance, such as tuberculosis? Yes or no? You are going to indicate it there. Do you have documentation to establish that you have received vaccinations in accordance to the US law? Yes or no? You are going to write there. Okay. Do you have a mental or physical disorder that possesses or is likely to pose a threat to the safety or welfare of yourself or others? Yes or no? You indicate it there. Are you or have you ever been a drug abuser or an addict? You indicate it there. And then the next is going to take us to criminal. So let's see. So we've talked about that. So let's go to criminal and see. Have you ever been arrested or convicted for any offense, crime, even though subject of a pardon, amnesty, or any other similar action? You will answer what you know. Have you ever violated or engaged in a conspiracy to violate any law related to controlled substances? You're going to answer that. Are you the spouse, son, or a daughter of an individual who has violated any controlled substance trafficking law and have knowingly benefited from the trafficking activities in the past 5 years? You're going to answer that too. Are you coming to the United States to engage in prostitution or unlawful commercialized vice, or have you been engaged in prostitution or procuring prostitutes within the first 10 years? You're going to answer that. Have you ever been involved in or do you seek to engage in money laundering? You will answer that. Have you ever committed or conspired to commit a human trafficking offense in the United States or outside the United States? You are going to answer that one too. Have you ever knowingly aided, abetted, assisted, or colluded with an individual who has been identified by the President of the United States as a person who plays a significant role in severe form of conspired to commit a human trafficking offense in the United States or outside the United States? Or have you within the last 5 years knowingly benefited from trafficking activities? You will answer those questions, guys. You have to answer them to the truthfulness. Okay? Okay. Do you seek to engage in espionage, sabotage, or export control violations in or ever do illegal activities? You're going to answer that. Are you going to be a terrorist? Do you intend to provide financial assistance to terrorists? Are you a daughter of a son of a terrorist? All that stuff you are going to answer, because this is all about security. Have you ever been engaged in recruiting child soldiers? You are going to answer all that, guys. You will answer all that to the truthful. You know what I mean? All this is about bank, and there are many, guys. Go through those questions and answer them. Be truthful, guys. You have to be truthful. You have to be very, very truthful, because if you lie and they are going to do a background check, they will know. If you lie about your social media, they are going to know. And when they know, they are not going to give you a visa. That's for sure. They are not going to give you all that stuff. So it's very, 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 very important for you to do that. Now let's go to this other one. Have you ever been unlawfully present or ordered removed from the US during the last 10 years? You will tell them. Have you ever been convicted of aggravated felony or been ordered to be removed in the US? You are going to answer all these questions. You are going to answer all those questions. Be truthful. If you have been anything, if you have been here and you were told that you have to go home, you will answer. Now, have you ever withheld custody of a U.S. citizen child outside the United States from a person granted a legal custody by the U.S. court? Have you ever intentionally assisted another person in withholding custody of a U.S. citizen child outside the United States from a person granted legal custody by a U.S. court? You will answer all that one. Huh? Have you voted in the United States in violation of any law or regulation? You know you cannot vote even when you're permanent resident. You cannot vote. So you have to answer these questions truthfully, very, very truthfully. Have you ever renounced United States citizenship for the purpose of avoiding taxation? That you say that you're not a citizen because you do not want to pay taxes. Because I told you that we pay taxes here. So it's very, 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 very important. Now, have you ever attended a public elementary school or public secondary school F status after November 30, 1996 without reimbursing the school? You refuse to pay your school fees. You are going to answer all those questions, especially if you have been here in the US. Very, very important. Answer every question to the best of your knowledge. You have to answer. Even this one is interesting. Are you coming to the US to practice polygamy? You're going to answer that one too. So very, very important questions that you're going to answer. So take your time, guys. Take your time when you are doing this thing. So that you do it properly. Have you ever applied for a social security number? You will answer that. You know, I cannot, if you have never come to the US and had all these things, then you don't have to answer. You say no. But if you have ever, please answer to your best. You have to be very, 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 very honest when you're answering these questions, guys, are very, very, very important. Now, after that, you are going to come here and this last page for the sign and submit, because you have answered all the questions. You will read here. Make sure that you read this stuff. After you have read that stuff, if someone was filling it out for you, it's still going to ask you, did anyone assist you in filling out this information? If someone had assisted you, remember you put the information up there, you'll say no. If you did it for yourself, which I recommend that you do it for yourself, you're going to say no, and then it's going to ask for your electronic signature. It is going to ask you to put your case number here, and then your passport number, and then you're going to enter these characters, and then you are going to submit your application. Now, when you submit your application, you're going to click on the next page, and it is gonna take you to your confirmation. It is gonna give you like a confirmation page that you have submitted your application. It might ask for your email. You might want to print your confirmation. Very, very important. It's going to ask for your email confirmation. You put your email confirmation there, and then they're going to send that information to your email. So after you have done that, guys, you are done. You're done with the DS260. See, I explained that process in 42 minutes. So when you are doing it, take your time, guys. Take your time, do it correctly so that you don't have any problems and you do it truthfully. So I hope this video is going to help someone. So please watch it. And, you know, if you have any questions, put them in the comment section and we are going to talk about it. So thank you. And I wish you all the best in this journey. Remember, patience. You have to be very, very patient. God bless you and stay safe.